Hey everyone, this is my zombie look for this year's Halloween. I hope my intro is thoroughly creeping you out, because it's even creeping me out. For this year, I'm using a lot of different mediums. I used fake tattoos, blood, lots of fake blood, the latex and tissue technique for my wounds, and plenty of ripped up clothing. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, please keep watching. Alright, let's just jump right into it. Here's one final look at how it is without any filters. I did use a moisturizer and a primer on my skin. I just really wanted to protect it from wearing this heavy amount of makeup for a long period of time. I did go to the Minneapolis Zombie Pub Crawl. For my face base, I used a mixture between my foundation and white face paint, just that cheapy kind that you get at the Halloween store. For basically all of this look, I found little cosmetic sponges. I just got mine in a pack from Target. I found them to be extremely useful. I used one for white, one for foundation, one for blood, one for brown face paint, and it just made everything so much easier, and I didn't have to sacrifice any brushes. I'm just taking that all the way down the neck and all the way down to the base of my shirt just so that I'm all covered up, and we are going to be working a lot with that chest area, making it look especially bony, so we look especially dead. I did wear this long sleeve shirt out, but if you're not wearing a long sleeve shirt, feel free to do your arms up as well. I did throw a fake tattoo on one of the big holes in my shirt, but I wish I had gone through and done more wounds on my arms, so it made a really impressive look. And since this whole base is liquid makeup, we're going to have to set it. I just used a single white eyeshadow I got at Target a while back from CoverGirl and a big kabuki brush. This is once the face paint was relatively dry, and then I just set it all with my kabuki brush. And now I just mostly used my Naturals or Neutrals palette from NYX. It's just those little strips. And this was one of the matte brown shades. Feel free to use any matte brown. This one just has a cool tone to it. I'm adding darkness wherever I get my own set of darkness. So inner eye, the corner of the eye, and especially in that dark circle. Throughout the video, these sunken in areas were never sunken in enough for me, so I was doing a lot of layering and layering and layering. So get that contour in. Get those eyes looking very sunken in to your liking, but you can always go back and change it and make it more intense. I wanted my zombie to be pretty sunken in. I didn't want any baby fat on its face at all. It should have been dead long ago. So I'm really exaggerating the contour on my temples and under the cheekbone and everywhere there, and also heavily around the jawline. I want my neck to look so far away from my jaw. And it's also important to get down onto the chest and the neck itself. I'm going around my trachea. Any shadows that I have there naturally, I'm just exaggerating. I'm going to push out the veins of my neck so I can exaggerate those. I just want it to look like there's no fat on my body in this whole area. I want to look dead, dead, dead. That suprasternal notch area, that little loop-de-loop right there that I'm contouring, get that all lined out. And I did press to see where my ribs were going to be, and my clavicle. I wanted all these bones to stick out pretty far. Use a light brown if you're not really sure what's going on, and then just go back and relayer and relayer and relayer. I end up doing that. You'll see throughout the video that I add darker colors and highlights onto that neck and chest area. That one little NYX palette and this one little e.l.f. fluffy brush really killed all of this shading for me, no pun intended. It just really got the job done, so I'd highly recommend getting a little fluffy brush out and getting all of this detail work the way you want it. I was taking a better look at my eyes after doing that, and I noticed they looked really black and gray, so I went in with some purple shadows from a little sample palette that I had. Any purple you have, whether it has a little sparkle in it or not, should be fine, just as long as it's not excessively shimmery. And I went through all that black and kind of warmed it up. Now, just because I'm a zombie doesn't mean I can't have my brow game. So I did use a little Anastasia pencil guy to color in my brows a little bit, and then I went in with my clear mascara or a brow gel, whatever you have, and I pushed them backwards instead of making them real neat. Here's a larger blush brush that I got from a sample that I'm using with a darker shade to just blend out everything. Now here I'm going to start putting on my fake tattoos. So this is the first one I put on, and I'm just going to zoom through the rest of them, outclip them. But they were kind of glossy in my opinion, so I went over them with Stay Matte Translucent Powder, and now I'm taking a cosmetic sponge and just putting liquid latex I picked up at Goodwill in their little cosmetics area for Halloween. And once that was tacky, I split a tissue paper in half. Like, not in half like I had two pieces, but down the center of it, so I have two really thin pieces. And I applied lots of tacky latex and popped it all on. And now I am following a tutorial that I will link that was extremely helpful. This is just my quick version of how I did it. I went over all the edges with the liquid latex and over the top of it, so it got a really crunchy look to it. And since I did go over the top of it, it made a perfect next sticky layer for another piece of tissue paper. And I think I did this process 4, 5, or 6 times, but whatever you think starts to feel crunchy enough. I use different size tissue paper, different crinkly parts, and go over the outer edge so that the outer edge should have the least amount of tissue paper and smooth latex, and as you get towards the middle, it has the most dense layer. And I did do this process in several parts of my face, on the neck obviously, and then the side of my cheek, and also on my forehead, but showing you me doing this 3 times would be horrendously boring and take forever. So just skip all of that and let's apply a foundation color over all of it. And I wasn't in love with the way it was blending into my skin, so I just took that fluffy brush and my brown shadow into my temples and over the edges of my wounds, or soon-to-be wounds. Now is the time to be extremely careful. I used my scissors with the curved sides. There was no risking poking my neck at all, actually. But you make a little hole, and then once you get your fingers in there, you can just rip it apart. And I ripped lengthwise with the tissue paper and make nice big tears like you just got your neck ripped out. Now the inside of that area is all nice, smooth, natural skin, so I am latexing it again, putting more tissue paper in there so that is equally as crunchy as the outside, just like a muscle would appear when it's all in there. And I did this process again on my forehead and then on my cheek, but you'll see that in a little bit. And once all that is dry, I started making it red with a red face paint pod thing I got at, I think, Party City, and I wasn't in love with it. It was actually kind of showing up pink. So I went in with my fake blood. And I greased the whole thing down. I put globs in the bottom and let it drip down. Don't forget to make the bloody on the inside of the flaps of skin too, or fake skin. And I also took a little liberty with that red face paint and kind of blobbed it over the rest of my face a little bit here and there, as you can kind of see on my forehead here. So I just used my pinky and a little fake blood in a plate, and I just dribbled it into the little sockets and gross crevices of my wounds. And for this example, I'm just showing you the one on my cheek. Get all up in there so that the blood is a really nice dark red. You don't want it to look pink at all. You want it to look nice and realistic. Glob all up in there. Get lots of nice drops of blood. Here I'm just scooping in the bottom by my clavicle so that it will drop naturally. I'm getting in love with this look now. So I was just futzing with it. I put a little blood on my face here. I finished off the wound on my forehead. I put a little by my mouth and by my eyes. And in general, just wanted to look kind of gross. And that's a fake tattoo there on my other jawline. And there's another one on my neck. And I just dribbled blood down from it so that it would look more woundy than it was, because it was so 2D looking compared to my wounds that I took the time on. So I just added blood to them to make them look nice and gross. And here again, more layering of the dark brown matte shadows to make myself look especially sunken in. And the water lines were kind of bugging me how bright they were, so I did tightline them. And now we're back with some white contacts. I got them from youknowit.com. That'll all be in the bottom bar though. And here I discovered I had my brown cream makeup I hadn't used yet, so I used it to really contour out my trachea, my temples, and then I did apply it into the bloody area, which did this magical thing that made it look really realistic. I highly recommend mixing the fake blood with the brown cream makeup. Just the cheapy kind at the Halloween store too, not anything fancy. Alright, while I'm getting my hair up here, I just want to mention that I did take a waterproof black eyeliner and rubbed it all over my teeth and just kind of smudged it around with my finger. It really finished off the look, and unfortunately in these clips I hadn't done it yet, I hadn't figured it out, but it will be in the pictures and in the thumbnail and such. And I don't normally wear contacts, and I don't find these uncomfortable at all, just as a contact thing if you guys have any questions with that. I super hope you guys enjoyed this look. I know I had a blast making it for you guys and wearing it to the zombie pub crawl. We did beat the Guinness World Record for largest zombie gathering, which was just icing on the cake. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thanks for clicking on, and don't forget to subscribe.